Jacobs, Limestone. Definitely want to be paying attention to the situation pretty closely. The cell is down southwest of Moorhead. It's been kind of moving east, so it may just pass, may kind of follow eastern Rowan County right into the northern part of Elliott County. But yeah, our Elliott County communities are under that tornado warning. So that includes Sideway, Gimlet, Stark, Ordinary, Dewdrop. And then just outside of the warning box would be Newfoundland. Sandy Hook is outside of the warning box as of right now. You're not in that tornado warning. It's to your north. And again, that is in effect here until 11 o'clock. Now, we also have the severe thunderstorm warning for Morgan and Magoffin counties, including Sawyersville, West Liberty. And this storm has what we call a considerable tag on it, and that indicates potential for 70-mile-an-hour winds. So you're looking at the velocity. Here's the storm on radar right now. This is just on the doorstep of Morgan County. It's just moving to the western tip. So in the next 10 minutes, this will be moving through West Liberty, and this has some very strong velocities on it right now. This is a velocity scan looking at wind, and we're seeing easily 60 miles an hour, but in some cases we've seen some 70-mile-an-hour velocities on that.
Yeah.
So this is a serious storm, even though it's not a tornado. This is racing its way off to the east. So again, this is going to be moving into West Liberty probably before 11 o'clock, and Sawyersville just about 11 o'clock. So you definitely want to be inside, be away from windows. 70-mile-an-hour winds will obviously cause some significant damage with that storm system moving through. So those are the two that we're watching there right now. And we mentioned Huntington. Yeah, storming in Huntington right now. And this does have a statement on it for the potential for 50-mile-an-hour gusts. Are you seeing something, Brandon?
Yeah, it looks like the back end of this cell in northern Wayne County, there's a little bit of a kink there.
Yeah, right near
Now,
Buffalo.
sometimes that could just be a random radar representation, but you always have to keep a close eye on that.
Yeah, don't see anything showing up prominently in the velocity. Let me switch radars. Yeah, maybe a little bit. That's Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, we are getting some strong velocities around Huntington. Some hail signature potentially as well. And so that's a strong storm moving through Huntington. And we can kind of extrapolate that out. That's going to be kind of moving off to the north-northeast or east-northeast. So Charleston, going to be a close call. But that's going to kind of scoot right through some of these communities here.
See if there's any updates here.
That's moving right in that direction there. So Putnam County, Hurricane, Milton. How fast is that? I'd roughly estimate about 50?
Yeah, it looked like 50 miles per hour due to the east, essentially.
Yeah, so we can kind of put a storm track on this. And so this would be getting into Taze Valley. Hurricane probably in the next 10 minutes. You'll start to see the weather deteriorate, and Taze Valley just before 11. And it may scoot just north of downtown Charleston, but South Charleston, Charleston proper, it probably get here just a little bit after 11 o'clock. So again, that's not currently a severe storm, but it's a strong storm, and it's got some lightning, it's got some very heavy rain on it too. And we're keeping an eye on that. But again, this tornado warning, this is why we're on right now. We stay on for these tornado warnings. We still have that kind of notch signature now. This is now to the southeast of Moorhead. So moving pretty quickly there. And velocities, you're still seeing that couplet, that green and that red. Anytime you see that, just notice how most of this is just all the same color. But when you see that green and red right there, that's indicative of a possible rotation. Just possible, it's not confirmed.
They've also issued a new severe thunderstorm warning with that cell out ahead of this for portions of Carter County now, including Grayson.
Okay. Okay, so now we have, so now Grayson, you guys are in a severe thunderstorm warning. Upper Tigard up through Grayson there in Carter County, and that would include Olive Hill as well.
70-mile-per-hour winds, pink ball, size hail.
70-mile-an-hour winds, so this would be a considerable severe thunderstorm, and that's in effect until 11 o'clock as well. So again, that's Carter County. Tornado, and they are saying that a tornado is possible. So sometimes you can have a severe thunderstorm warning where there's not quite enough evidence to go with a tornado warning, but there's some evidence. There's some rotation that they're concerned about, and probably it would be for this zone right in the southwestern tip of Carter County that I mentioned. Places like Enterprise, Soldier, Jacobs. Those are the places that I think we'd have to keep an eye on. So again, tornado warning for Elliott County, northern Elliott County. Sandy Hook is south of that. Isonville is south of that warning. But the northern half of Elliott County is under the tornado warning. And then a severe thunderstorm warning for a lot of Carter County, central Carter County, including Grayson and Olive Hill, until 11 o'clock for potential ping pong ball size hail and 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And yeah, the hail signature's gotten quite a bit larger here on this cell. So that's a pretty impressive signature right there. That's right near Moorhead. So that's what they're warning on right there is that signature. I'm going to switch over to another view and we can get kind of some estimates just clicking on this. Doesn't necessarily mean that this is what's happening, but yeah, at least inch and a half.
Golf ball.
Yeah, golf ball size hail. Being indicated on radar with that particular cell as that's making its way east. And I think that's kind of ramped up quite a bit. Yeah, just in the last few minutes, that's kind of ramped up. So that's the concern with this cell, and we are seeing that rotation as well now southeast of Moorhead in Rowan County. So that will be crossing into Elliott County here in the next 10, 15 minutes. So those are the two active warnings that we're looking at here, but there are a lot more warnings back to the west. This is a pretty extensive system, so there's really kind of a couple segments that we're seeing. We had individual thunderstorms producing tornadoes back to our west earlier this evening. They're starting to kind of morph together into lines, and so you kind of have a couple different lines here. You got one right here making its way across eastern Kentucky, and then you've got this other line that's taking shape back around central and western Kentucky. That just crossed through Paducah, and so that's heading east-southeast as well.
Seeing the small little kinks along the line that's moving into Morgan and McGough, and
okay.
So can't rule out a brief spin-up tornado even in the severe thunderstorm warnings also.
Yeah, so right in here.
Yeah, little kinks right
some
there.
Notches right near upper Gilmore, lower Gilmore. And we just got an update, so there it's kind of, you can see how quickly this thing's moving very fast. So there's Grassy Creek. So that we're talking about western Morgan County, getting up into western McGough County there with that line as it's making its way east. And then there's that signature that we're seeing right there in eastern Rowan County right now.
Yeah, even if that's not circular, I mean, that is still producing some pretty intense straight line wind. Those pinks there.
Mm-hmm. And there's some pretty strong wind signatures we're seeing around northern Wayne County too. So it's definitely some strong winds with this cell in northern Wayne. In fact, yeah, I'm getting 70,
yeah,
65, 70 in that. Now we don't know that that's necessarily reaching the ground with this particular cell. But again, that's making its way very quickly up into Milton. So heads up hurricane, it's about to pour for you folks. Taze Valley, you're going to be seeing that cell making its way in. Kind of the way it's angled, again, it's going to be a close call for downtown Charleston. Southern edge of this may scrape downtown Charleston, but it would probably be 11:10, 11:15 at this point when it would reach Charleston. And again, that's the kind of leading edge of that cell.
Here's an update to the tornado warning. Just coming in. Radar indicated still yet tornado 2-inch hail.
Okay.
So
yeah, that hail signature is really
to probably hen size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that hail signature has really ramped up on this particular cell. See if we are seeing what kind of, yeah, and we've got that's a strong wind shear profile too, right there. So that's east of downtown Moorhead. Looks like kind of a rural area right there where that strong signature is, but that would be kind of just south of Route 32. That's getting close to Elliotttville, which is right near the Elliott County border right there. So that's a pretty stout signature. And then we got that signature right there. That's what's moving into Grassy Creek, Nickel in Morgan County. That's a very strong signature right there. So those are the two spots: Western Morgan County, Magoffin County, and Elliott and Southwestern Carter County are the places that we're looking at right now here in terms of the heaviest weather. But again, folks in Huntington are getting a pretty good downpour. Looks like it may start kind of shifting more to the east of downtown Huntington, but make its way across Putnam County. And a good bit of lightning, a lot of lightning with this. So that's a pretty electrical storm right there. So quite a number of lightning strikes. See if I can, just within that box, it's 144 strikes here just in the last 10 minutes or so. So that's a very active storm. What are you noticing?
Trying to see if there's any special weather statements for the Huntington storm. There is 50 mile per hour winds possible in that. As you mentioned, a lot of cloudy ground lightning. And the orientation of that, you're going to get some heavy rain that lasts a little bit. Could see some street urban flooding briefly.
And then this cell, we'll have to keep an eye on how long this cell holds together because it's tracking in that general direction. So right now, that tornado warning for Elliott County, but we'll see if that gets extended. If that structure holds together, it may get extended. And this is going to probably get extended eventually into Johnson County, Lawrence County, Floyd County, this cell right here.
Yep.
And again, that's making its way right into West Liberty. So it's not tornado warning, but this is not a storm you want to mess around with. There's some really strong winds within this. And that's, heading across northern parts of Magoffin County through Morgan County, and eventually it'll probably be making its way towards Flat Gap, Paintsville. So just a heads up for you folks, you're not under a warning as of right now, but you will be probably pretty soon. So again, those are the things we're watching. We were also keeping an eye up in Vinton County. There was a tremendous storm that hit Wilmington, Ohio earlier. That was kind of getting close. It's going to be a close call for Vinton County. It looks like it may skirt just north of Vinton County right now. Right now, no warning for Vinton County. We'll keep an eye on that. And then there's a notch right there. This is out of our area currently, but it's close. That's north of Hillsboro. Don't have a tornado warning on that. Yeah, the velocity looks a little messy, but kind of has a little bit of a hook there too. But again, we're on the air right now. We cover, we stay on the air for these tornado warnings. We want to keep an eye on this thing right here. We continue to see that couplet, what we call velocity couplet, between inbound and outbound winds. So the green and now it's the white. So these winds here on the front end are increasing. These are stronger than they were before. So that's 60, that's 70, 68.
Yeah, that's dangerous regardless of circular or straight line winds.
Yeah. So that signature is just south of Elliotttville, just north of Minor. This is going to cross Route 173 near Minor, right there in eastern Rowan County. And again, this is going to cross into the northern half of Elliott County. So that's why you folks in Elliott County are under a tornado warning right now. And again, Isonville, you're not in that warning. Sandy Hook, you're not in that warning. It's to your north. We'll watch it, but right now I think it's steering east. So it's going to be heading near Ordinary, Stark, Beartown. These are the places that you want to be in your safe spot right now. Basement, if you can. At least an interior room, hallway, something that doesn't have windows. A bathroom that doesn't have windows. And lowest level of your home. That's where you want to be right now if you're in some of those towns that I just mentioned there in northern Elliott County with that tornado warning. And again, that is in effect until 11 o'clock. And
looks like the wind velocities could be increasing with the Cabell County eastern side over towards Milton and Culloden. Seeing some 60 plus now.
Yeah, that looks pretty stout. I'm wondering, can you load up the the Milton webcam?
Yeah.
And then
right now.
When we get that up, maybe have our director pop up Weather 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can kind of take a look at what's going on there. Maybe get the hurricane, if we can get the hurricane one too.
Yeah, hurricane might be, Milton is in it right now.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what that.
Hurricane might be a good option. Let me pull this up here.
So yeah, what we're looking at here, pretty strong velocity signature. That's right near Milton. That's heading into Culloden. So, you know, definitely get inside, get away from windows. Culloden, hurricane.
There we are.
This
There's
is heading
Milton.
your way. Okay.
It's pretty.
Yeah, can we pop up weather too? Okay, yeah, thank you. And that's Milton right now, and that looks pretty rough. Getting a little bit of a light glare, it looks like, so it's a little hard to see. But you can see the camera's getting shaken around.
Well, it looks like at least half of that wind is making it down. I mean, at nighttime, you don't know for sure if all that wind's coming down, but looks like a good bit of that wind on velocity scans coming down. So that's heading towards hurricane very soon, eventually over towards Taze Valley.
Yeah, so we can kind of put a track on that. This is heading up in this direction here. So yeah, 10:55, 11 o'clock, Taze Valley, hurricane area. And we'll see how, the southern edge where it gets to Charleston here. And again, still monitoring that tornado warning for northern Elliott County, and then we've got Morgan and Magoffin County under that severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds. And I wish I could say that, once this stuff weakened, we'd be done, but unfortunately, we've got more activity back to the west. A little good news, I'm not seeing as many tornado warnings back here anymore. It does look like this is kind of forming into a line. So when these storms, individual cells, when they're out on their own, that's when they are more favorable to produce tornadoes. When they start to morph into a line, becomes more linear straight line winds. But that also means more widespread wind issues. So you go from a localized tornado threat to a widespread wind issue. Oh, okay. And then we've got
hurricane.
Yeah,
right
we've got
now.
hurricane up.
That
Weather
is a
2.
driving rain coming in kind of sideways there.
So yeah, there's that storm moving into the hurricane.
A lot of lightning.
There's a lightning. Yeah, this is a pretty electrical storm. So even just on that account, I think we can definitely may see some outages start to pop up from the lightning strikes here with this system.
That wind velocity does look like it's increasing. I've got near 70 miles per hour, at least according to the radar, near Milton, between Milton and hurricane, moving into hurricane very soon. Strongest winds, that is.
Yeah,
The
right
storm's
there.
already there. There's a radar update. Let's see what it shows.
Yeah, there's some velocities. That just sometimes this doesn't necessarily mean this is what's making it to the ground.
Right.
But yeah, we are seeing some 65, 70-mile-an-hour velocities right there on that particular cell. And there's a storm, there's the recent lightning. So yeah, that's moving into hurricane right now. And I'm going to kind of send this on a loop just to see.
Might be bowing out a little bit.
Yeah, it's bowing out.
And it's
so this will
sinking
get
south a little bit.
Yeah, so this will definitely get Charleston. So it looks like probably by 11:05, 11:10, this will be hitting Charleston. So certainly St. Albans, it's moving into your neck of the woods here pretty soon. Cross Lanes, Nitro, and yeah, no warning on this, but it's a strong storm for sure. And it's pretty late at night. I mean, we were expecting, this was going to be, because we have so much wind energy. Typically storms peak in the late afternoon and then they fade away. But this time of year, especially when you're in springtime and you got a lot of wind energy, these storms can last quite a while. And unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with some form of storm activity likely for another few hours around here before we can sound the all clear. So we're expecting a late night for us, and that could mean a late night for you folks as well. You definitely want to have, if you are going to go to bed, make sure that you have a way to get warnings. You can get our WCHS Storm Team weather app, and it will alert you if there is, a tornado warning that gets issued for your area, severe thunderstorm warning overnight. Because certainly the possibility is there that we're going to have, overnight warnings maybe as late as 1, 2 in the morning.
Right. That storm at hurricane is pretty feisty. If we can head over to that camera, there we are. Frequent lightning, camera bouncing around. That storm appears to be intensifying, and that's heading right into Kanawha County very soon. St. Albans and Tates Valley there in Putnam County. That's probably borderline severe to my eyes.
Let's see. Are we getting not much in the way of hail signature there? Now we still have that strong hail signature back in northern Elliott County right now, and again we still have that tornado warning that's in effect for Elliott County currently. That's still in effect till 11 o'clock. We'll see what the National Weather Service does with that. I haven't looked at the rotation here recently. Okay, it's a little less inbound winds, more outbound, maybe, at least on this cycle. But these things tend to cycle back and forth. So still the potential right there. That would be, if there was something, it would be near Ordinary right now, right along Route 32 and Beartown. And I believe we've covered tornado warnings in this area before. I know I've mentioned these towns before. This is a common area here to see these kind of rotating signatures. So again, this does not mean that there's a tornado on the ground, but it does mean that you need to act as though there could be. So if you're in Beartown, Ordinary, Stark, Dewdrop, because it's moving your way, you want to be inside, again, lowest level of your home, preferably a basement, and just ride this thing out. You won't have to ride it out for very long because it's moving pretty quickly to the east. I mean, when we came on the air, this thing was west of Moorhead, so look how far it's traveled already. It's moving pretty fast. Everything's moving really fast here. We have very strong winds. That's indicative of the wind energy that we have. So we'll be talking about a storm cell, and 5 minutes later, it's in a completely different zone there.
Yeah, that's right. Jet stream's right on top of us right now. Jet stream's very powerful this evening, and that's really can sustain these storms even with loss of daytime heating. Johnson County, new warning.
Okay.
Also, northern Floyd County. So that's a severe thunderstorm warning. And the language is 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail.
I think we got an update here. 11:15. Okay. So now they've extended this tornado warning for northern Elliott County. They extended it a little further east into 11:15. At 10:55, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Stark, near Sandy Hook, moving east at 45 miles an hour. Tornado and hail up to 2 inches diameter. It's radar indicated rotation. So again, this storm is near Stark. So, and especially, they remind you that tornadoes are extremely difficult to see and confirm at night. So you don't want to just wait to see this or hear the tornado or even hear the sirens. You want to get into your safe spot right now. Stark, Ibex, Bruin. Again, northern parts of Elliott County are under that warning, and they've extended that. So they've extended that all the way east to Dobbins, right there on the border with Lawrence County. So that tornado warning goes all the way to Dobbins, and again, that's until 11:15. And then we've got the severe thunderstorm warning for Olive Hill, Grayson, in Carter County. That remains in effect. And we did just see the thunderstorm warning, as you mentioned, extended into Johnson County, so Flat Gap, Paintsville, Prestonsburg, northern Floyd County, and then up into northwestern Martin County for Inez. You guys are under that warning as well. And that also, does that have the, I would assume that has the 70-mile-an-hour tag?
You know, surprised
60
it does
mile,
not.
okay, 60 miles an hour.
I guess the wind velocities have dropped off a little bit with that, according to Velocity Scan.
Yeah.
But still a dangerous storm. Anytime you see the storms bowing out like that, you have to take it seriously.
So Brandon's talking about that, this is kind of taking on that kind of bowing shape like that, like an arc or an arrow, bow and arrow.
Mm-hmm.
It bows out, it means you've got this kind of strong wind kind of punching through and pushing, the inner core out faster.
Also have a couple warnings for Vinton and Athens County in southeast Ohio. Those storms have been pretty persistent up there. Yeah,
we were wondering, it's close. It's, the southern edge of this thing. These things have been kind of tracking, they're kind of just angled. It's close enough, MacArthur North, some of those storms, and do they still have the same kind of, the worst velocity is a little further north. Look at that. That is, It's outside of our area, but this storm has been incredible. Salt Creek, I mean, that's 80 miles an hour up there. Laurel, Sugar Grove, so that's up closer to Circleville. So, but the southern end of this could nick northern parts of Vinton and Athens County too. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And checking in on this storm again. This is going to be moving into Charleston.
It's definitely bowing out.
Yeah.
It's got a tight, what we call reflectivity gradient right along the leading edge. You go from light greens to reds in a short amount of time. So
Yeah.
that's
So
a pretty
again,
good punch of wind.
Yeah, so this is moving into St. Albans right now. Actually, can you call up the St. Albans camera?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll do that. Just give me one moment here.
And Cross Lanes.
It's still storming pretty good in Hurricane.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
still
been-
coming down.
It's been for a
A
while.
lot
there.
of a lot of lightning with this thing. I could definitely see the lightning strikes. Maybe a little less than before, but that's still a pretty electrical storm. Yeah, it has seen a decrease in the lightning a little bit here, but there's still plenty of it. And again, it's 11 o'clock at night on a Friday. So if you're trying to go to bed right now, this is not great. That's for sure. So that's that cell right there. And yeah, the wind maybe not quite as strong as it was. And actually, usually if the wind, when this thing is approaching the radar, Charleston radar, which is right there in Southridge, usually you kind of see an uptick, I think, don't you? Well,
Yeah, it could go either
initially,
way.
and then it can kind of get under the radar beam and kind of disappear. So, but yeah, some strong winds there. At least 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, 50 plus. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a good estimate. So that's nearing St. Albans very soon. Also Cross Lanes,
Mm-hmm.
Dunbar, South Charleston, and eventually Charleston looks like about 11:15, roughly. Also seeing some strong winds in northern Wayne County with that cell right
Yeah,
there.
with that cell. Yeah, Wayne, you're getting hit right now. Yep, right there on the northern edge. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, 81. Now again, it doesn't mean that this is
True.
making it to the ground.
Especially at night when
You get a little inversion.
Yeah.
These winds don't translate to the ground. And speaking of that, just on that point, we're going to not have any inversion tomorrow.
That's true.
We were talking about this. We're talking about the severe threat tonight, but we're in our 11 o'clock show here on ABC. So, I was going to give the weather forecast anyway. So. Tomorrow, the sun's going to come out. These storms are gone, but we've got a front that's crossing through. And what's going to happen is we're going to mix the air from the surface way up. What were you saying?
It looks like the mixing layer tomorrow is about 7,000 feet.
7,000 feet. So, I mean, that's substantial. Yesterday, we hardly mixed at all.
Right.
Because we had a warm layer aloft, and that's why we actually didn't have any storm development. Tomorrow, no storm development, we don't have the moisture, but we're going to be mixing down some really strong winds. So area-wide, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to have gusts 40, 45, maybe 50 miles an hour at times in the afternoon. It won't start off too windy, but that wind's going to really crank once you get to about lunchtime and through the afternoon. So it's going to be a very blustery day. So even, just that in and of itself with the rain that we're getting tonight, what we had earlier today, you got a saturated ground.
Right.
And that can cause some additional outages. So I wouldn't be surprised if when we look up at the power outage map, I might look at it tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and at 4 in the afternoon, there may be more people without power at 4 in the afternoon tomorrow compared to 7.
That storm's really blowing in right now, Doug, in St. Albans. Really getting gusty
Yeah,
out
can we
there.
look at weather 2?
There we are.
All right, that's St. Albans right now. So that's where the storm is.
Yeah, you can see this power line just.
Yeah,
Going
and there's
back
the
and
lightning
forth there.
flashing. Yeah, it's
This is bowing out. I mean, this bears close watching. Near St. Albans right now, I'm seeing an uptick to a wind velocity. Now, roughly around 60 miles per hour, looks like.
Yeah. Now, hasn't hit Charleston yet, but we've got our own Joe DeCristofaro. He is out live right now. He's been looking at the storm. I believe he's out there. He's been seeing the lightning in the distance. Joe, how's it looking right now? It's not raining here in Charleston yet, but that storm is on its way, so you're going to want to take cover here pretty soon.
Doug, Brandon, yeah, right now we're out here on Fort Hill in Charleston, and we've been up here for, I don't know, probably the last 20 or so minutes. We've been, and Corbin, can you kind of get a shot of this lightning over here to our west? And we'll try to move over so you all can see this. It's coming in from the west, just straight down the Kanawha River, really. We've been watching it for about the last 20 minutes or so, big veins of lightning cutting across the sky. I mean, it's pretty spectacular to look at. Obviously, you know the dangers that come along with it. Right now, our western counties where this storm is blowing in from are under a tornado watch until around 3 a.m. Right now in Kanawha County, we're under a flood watch until, I believe, 4 a.m. also. And we've been watching this lightning for a little bit now, and the wind hasn't picked up yet, but you can definitely feel it start blowing this way. All right. But yeah, we'll keep you updated as the night goes on. You can download the WCHS or the Eyewitness News Storm Team app to, continue to get those updates overnight as the storm continues to blow through our region. But for now, live in Charleston, Joe DeCristofaro, Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Yeah, find a place to stay dry because you're about to get poured on, and there's a lot of lightning with this, so obviously you don't want to mess around. And up on Fort Hill is a particularly dangerous spot that's susceptible to
Severe
that.
thunderstorm warning just issued with that storm.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, let's check out the radar here. So we just got an update that there is a severe thunderstorm warning on that cell, so Joe definitely wants to take shelter now. Severe thunderstorm warning for Kanawha County. 60-mile-an-hour winds?
Yes, 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-size hail.
Okay, so that's what we got, and that's until 11:30 for Kanawha County. So that covers Kanawha County, so basically from Marmet to Sissonville, Clendenin, Tornado, St. Albans, South Charleston, most of Kanawha County from Marmet north included in this warning, and that's until 11:30. So 60-mile-an-hour winds. Is there any hail?
Nickel size.
Nickel size, okay. All right.
So I think the main risk, I'm seeing the St. Albans, if we can go over to weather 2 real fast, just to give you a look here. St. Albans camera really bouncing around, fast winds, probably around 60 miles per hour, 50, 60. So Joe, if you're still listening, as Doug mentioned, get ready to take shelter because this is blasting right towards Charleston very soon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, can we take weather 2? Because we've got the St. Albans weather, the West Virginia 501 camera up. And yeah, take a look at that. And that's where we're seeing the strongest wind velocity, right over St. Albans right now. So this is probably the hardest, most intense part of the storm, right along Pennsylvania Avenue, Tornado, that zone right in there along McCorkle. Kind of velocities here, let's see. Right in that core there. Yeah, 60 miles an hour. So that goes along with the warning. That's warning for 60-mile-an-hour winds. And that's moving towards Dunbar, Jefferson. So, yeah, it's basically going to follow Route 60 there into South Charleston. And then eventually downtown Charleston in the next 10 minutes. I'd say 11:15.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anybody in this zone here, Charleston, Dunbar, Institute, South Charleston, definitely want to make sure you're inside, away from windows. It won't last long, 10 minutes, the worst of it. It'll still rain after that. But, yeah, right on the leading edge here, that's a pretty intense storm cell right there. And got some lightning with it as well and very heavy rain. So there we can track it. It's making its way in right now and getting pretty close to the radar site, too, at least the southern end of that storm. So again, we've got that storm. We still have that tornado warning. This thing looks a little less defined.
Yeah, a little ragged.
Yeah, it looks a little. Yeah. I'm not seeing any velocity couplet anymore. I suspect that's going to come down. That tornado warning. So that's good to know.
Paintsville, I'm seeing some high velocities there.
That's not good. That's not tornadic, but that's straight line winds right there. Flat Gap, Paintsville, that's moving into heading towards Inez.
About 70 mile per hour estimated, looks like.
Yeah, so that's that is some intense wind right there with that particular cell. 65, 70 miles an hour. And again, that's going to be crossing through southern Lawrence County, northwestern Martin County. So Inez, you're in that warning. Prestonsburg, northern Floyd County, you're in that warning as well. It's a pretty large warning. And they have warned on that cell They've extended that into Boyd County, northern Lawrence counties. Basically, Louisa to Cannonsburg is under that severe thunderstorm warning right now. So they're not. We're probably not going to see an extension of the tornado warning, but this storm still has some strong winds with it. So they are severe thunderstorm warning that, and there's a hail signature as well. That's looking like that's moving into towards Willard right now. Did we? Oh, we got another camera up.
Yeah, Dunbar. Yeah,
Dunbar.
this is
Okay.
starting to move into Dunbar now. This is quite the storm. I mean, this is definitely a severe warned storm. Looks like winds around 60 miles per hour. And there we are. Yeah, rain coming in sideways. Not seeing any evidence of rotation, but straight line winds here, which can be sometimes just as dangerous as circular winds.
And Charleston is still calm. In fact, that's not rain. I suspect that's bugs.
Bugs.
We typically see bugs
Yes.
on the camera.
It's a muggy
here
night
this time.
out there. So
Yeah, but those bugs are about to get washed away because,
Yes.
we've got a big downpour coming into Charleston here pretty soon. So, again, heads up.
have to change this banner here. Need to start to save these cameras with the names in them, but that is not St. Albans, that is Dunbar. Still seeing a strong, I don't know if it's a fluke or not, but it has been persisting in northern Wayne County and southern Cavill County, high velocities with that cell.
Yeah, so Brandon's talking about this stuff right in here. The bright colors. So, yeah, that's 85. That's southern Cabell County. Those are some strong, and again, that doesn't necessarily mean this is reaching the ground, but those are some strong velocities right in that zone there. Now, it's the rain's some of that area is not getting the highest reflectivities.
Right,
So,
right. You want to see a mesh to really have higher
so
confidence.
it may be that's that stuff's staying aloft here right now. But
Right.
but again, here comes the storm into Charleston. There's the radar site. If you're wondering what that is, that's the South Ridge Radar, National Weather Service. That's that little beam going around. So it's sending out that beam at an angle. So these raindrops get reflected and send the signal back, and that's how the radar works, and that's how we know the intensity of the rainfall that's out there. And this is a pretty stout downpour. Hamlin, you're getting it too right now. Then there's a little break, and then there's this stuff back to the west. So it's kind of a messy signature. We weren't quite sure how everything was going to evolve exactly tonight. We knew storms were going to increase. But it's kind of what's taking shape. It looks like kind of multiple lines. It is good in the sense that, to see a line rather than individual cells like they were seen out west, because I can tell you that there were some serious tornadoes out in western Kentucky and portions of Indiana earlier this evening when those storms were out on their own. Now that they're congealing in a line, one thing Brandon mentioned, as they congeal into a line, they're going to move faster. So that means we can get them out of here faster.
Yeah, that's true. That's what we want to see.
So they're picking up, this stuff back in western Kentucky is picking up speed quickly. I mean, that's already starting to approach Lexington. So, we want to once we get this stuff through here, this back edge stuff right in here, once that clears us, we'll be quieting things down.
That is a dangerous storm in southeast Kentucky near the town of London.
This is a nasty storm that we've been watching here.
Out of the viewing area, obviously.
Yeah, it is out of the viewing. This thing hit Bowling Green earlier. It's been maintaining itself, and it's just on its own. It's continued to be on its own. It hasn't really merged with the line up there. But that is that's been a nasty storm, and that is a velocity couplet right there. You're seeing wind speeds of 121 miles an hour.
Wow.
That's a tornado for sure on the ground, I would imagine. I don't know whether they're reporting that or not.
Considerable tag on that.
Considerable. Do they have a report of anything on the ground there?
I believe it's observed.
Okay.
Yep.
But we're going to watch that because, it's kind of moving east to maybe just southeast.
Yeah.
It's so I mean, just for future, it's still a ways away. but we'd have to keep an eye on it maybe for far southern Floyd. I don't think it's going to go in that direction. I think it's going to go more down here toward Big Stone Gap. But this thing is probably going to sustain itself all the way into southwestern Virginia, the way things look right now with that. But again, for our immediate concern, we have this moving into Charleston right now. So we're on the east side, our studio, so we're over here. And we're not hearing the rain on our rooftop yet. We will here soon. West side, yeah, you're getting the downpours already. This is already making its way in there, the high winds. Not as much lightning with this as we were seeing before, but still it's got some thunder and lightning with it, some downpours. St. Albans still getting heavy rain. There's Brandon's got Southridge up on weather too.
Looks like the winds may have backed off. I mean, it's hard to know that for sure, but you still want to treat this as 60-mile-per-hour winds, no doubt about it, because there is that severe thunderstorm warning in effect. You can kind of see the rain being driven in there. So this is still a nasty storm.
Yeah, it's always hard when these things come under the radar. So it's going under. Yeah, I mentioned that beam. It kind of goes out at an angle. So the highest winds can undercut the radar beam when it gets close to the radar site itself. So sometimes these wind signatures that we're seeing as it gets closer to the radar kind of disappears. You don't see it. And then when it moves away from the radar, when it starts moving east of Charleston, we'll start to see higher colors once again on the wind speeds. And yeah, still seeing some of those higher wind speeds northwest of Hamlin, but okay, there's
some wind and
all right,
rain
so
now.
now here we go. Let me see. Let's see. We've got.
Try to go to Oakwood. You got Oakwood there.
Yep.
There's Oakwood.
Okay, those are not bugs.
These are big raindrops.
Those
Hopefully
are-
Joe is taking shelter
Yes,
now.
yes. I hope Joe is in at least in the station vehicle and on his way back. Yeah, you can see the camera is bouncing around. There's the lightning. So getting some rough weather here in Charleston right now. Again, the worst of this is probably going to last for 10 minutes. And then that stronger wind velocity will move off to the east. But we do have... Okay, so the tornado warning was dropped. We suspected that would be the case, but we do have that severe thunderstorm warning here for Carter County, southern Boyd County, northern Lawrence County. And then up into, the Kanawha County warning. I think the worst of this is kind of past. Putnam County's still under this, but probably the worst of the storm is kind of past there. Well, no, it's still storming. I think the worst wind is probably past you folks, but you're still getting some heavy rain and some lightning, yeah, for sure. But that extends down through Hamlin. So all this is kind of taking on, kind of a line shape now. You can see these were kind of individual cells. Now they're kind of morphing into a line. So there's that stuff there, and then there's another line behind that. So something we haven't talked about too much, but we, have to pay attention to. We are under a flood watch, and we did have some heavy rain today, especially down south. This was an area that concerned me. We'll have to see if we get more downpours down here. Floyd County, Pike County got over 2 inches of rain today with those storms. We had about a half an inch of rain in Huntington, Charleston. We're probably going to get another half an inch from this at least. So, yeah, do have to keep an eye out into the overnight hours here for some localized high water. So that's what we're seeing there. And again, just kind of a summary. It's kind of a big mess, but you still see a lot of warnings back to our west. So this round comes through, but we're going to still have to keep an eye on this stuff back here when it gets here. Starting to see the tornado risk probably. If there's going to be issues, it would be down, in this zone. And we'll keep an eye on maybe southern Floyd and Pike counties potentially for that. Because we are under a tornado watch. Since we had a tornado warning right off the top, we didn't talk about this, but we do have a tornado watch officially just west of I-77. Anybody near the watch certainly is fair game. This is in effect until 3 a.m. I suspect that we may start to see the western counties west of I-75 start to get trimmed back from this. But yeah, the ingredients are there for a tornado. And again, I think, probably this zone down in here would be the one. Southern parts of Kentucky would probably be the most likely. You've got some power outages up.
Yeah, a little bit. Putnam County, 737 is what I'm seeing.
Okay.
That appears to be the only county so far that's being impacted significantly. Of course, there can always be a lag effect with these power outage updates, but that appears to be the big issue right now in Putnam County. So 797 customers without power.
All right, so a number of severe thunderstorm warnings. No tornado warnings right now in our viewing area. But basically from the Kanawha County area down to the south and west is where we have those storms currently. And then northern Athens County is under that severe thunderstorm warning. We're still keeping an eye on these storms up here. Kind of crossing the northern part of Athens County. And there's another one just west of Vinton County that looks like it may scoot just the northern part of Vinton County, probably stay north of MacArthur at this point. Again, we continue to get some really strong velocities further north up there with that. But that's where the warnings are currently for those counties as well. Kind of a gap, not much. We kind of figured somebody was going to thread the needle here and maybe not see a whole lot. And it looks like maybe kind of Parkersburg to Ripley.
Yeah, they're lucky so far. You know?
I mean, there's not much going on in this zone here.
Just the way the wind blows.
Yeah, there are some gaps. Again, there were some indications that, we might have seen one solid squall line basically take over back in western Ohio and then just kind of push through here. And that kind of didn't really happen. These storms stayed kind of out on their own for longer. And so now they are coming together, but in kind of a fragmented fashion. So you've got this stuff up here. That's kind of staying near and north of Route 50. And then you got this stuff down here, which is kind of confining itself more or less to, 64 and south. Now we'll see if this stuff here builds further north back near Lexington or not. Although I have a feeling I think the heaviest of this is going to probably focus further south. So that's what we're looking at here right now. Again, we've got that storm in Charleston. It is coming down at our station. We can hear it. Not as loud as I thought it would be. We've heard bigger downpours, at least on the rooftop here. But yeah, some strong winds coming through Charleston right now. Not a good time to be out. And, normally these things blow through and I say, okay, just wait it out and then it'll be fine. But, we're not going to be all clear here for probably another couple hours. I'd say after about 3 a.m. Let me throw up the Futurecast here. See if I can get the latest run of the Futurecast. Going to load this up here. See what we can get. Going to start this right now. Doing this on the fly because we started this right before our show. They got the tornado warning. So this is right now on the Futurecast. This is the model. It's not too inaccurate. So it's got that one line coming through Charleston, central West Virginia, and it is picking up on this second line. So it does show 1 o'clock, another line of storms coming through the tri-state again, and then maybe another round of storms in Charleston, Kanawha Valley around, and then down toward Logan, Pikeville, 2 a.m. And then once that goes by, I think 3, 4 in the morning, we're just down to some showers. But there'll probably be some lingering water spots out there. And then the sun's out. It's dry tomorrow, but again, it is going to be windy. I can't stress that enough. We are going to have some strong winds out there for tomorrow. 40, 45, 50 miles an hour. So I think there's going to probably be some additional problems. At the very least, the people that lose power tonight, it's going to be tough for crews to get that power back online.
That's a good point.
It's going to slow down their efforts. They're going to do the best they can, but it's tough to be out there restoring power when it's gusting to 50 miles an hour. So very windy afternoon for tomorrow. We'll get up to about 82 degrees, but you'll notice in the afternoon the humidity is going to drop behind that front. And another front's going to come through Saturday night. I don't think that has very much moisture with it, but that's going to cool us off even a little bit more as we get into Sunday. Highs will be in the 70s there. And then once we get into Monday, cycling begins in Charleston. I think there could be a shower storm mainly in southern West Virginia and Kentucky. We're going to try and see if we can hold that rain chance off. We won't be able to hold it off past Monday, though. It looks like, unfortunately, another system coming in that's going to be bringing some showers and storms. Maybe not as strong a storm activity as what we're seeing, but more rain. I'm concerned about a flood risk here developing Tuesday, Wednesday. So stay tuned on that. Enjoy the weekend weather. Just watch out for that wind. But, yeah, it does look like we're going to be seeing some heavier weather once we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. And then look at the temps. You know, we're heading to next Friday's the start of Memorial Day weekend. 60 degrees for the high. I think the shower chances are more spotty, so it's not going to be as wet at the end of next week. And hopefully it'll be dry next weekend. But if you were looking to get some pool time in, you may want to wait another week or so because it is going to be a little bit too cool for that. And this is, kind of what happened 2 years ago. Memorial Day weekend, we had lows down around 40 degrees. I think one day we were, was it Memorial Day itself?
We were
highs
in the 50s. I think
Yeah.
58, 59 degrees.
Yeah, so this happened 2 years ago. So not certainly a very warm unofficial start to summer coming. But, tomorrow is going to be the warmest day for a while. We'll be at 82 degrees. And, again, we're going to have those strong winds. So one last look at the radar here.
Seeing some strong winds down near Canal City now. That's where you were talking about how the radar,
Yes.
Has problems with the wind velocities as it moves through Charleston, but as it moves away, wind velocities are picking back up again. And I would say that's some ground truth there.
Yeah, so there's that strong punch of wind right now. That's moving into Clendenin, just past Pinch, Coal Fork, Kanawha City. So this is going to head into Coal Ridge, Cadelia, Mammoth, Marmet, Pond Gap. So, yeah, heads up in eastern Kanawha County here for these strong wind gusts as they push on through.
Looks like about 50, maybe 55 miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for a few more minutes. It'll be interesting to see if they push that further east.
Yeah, so one last look at the warning map here. We don't have any active tornado warnings right now. We're going to keep an eye on these cells down in southern Kentucky, but we do have a number of severe thunderstorm warnings. In fact, some have gotten extended through central Kentucky. So myself and meteorologist Brandon Stover are going to be here through tonight. Plenty of caffeine on hand. We'll be watching this. We might do a Facebook Live or so, and then if another tornado warning is issued or we see a particularly severe thunderstorm, we're going to break back into coverage later on tonight. But as of right now, no active tornado warnings here, but number of severe thunderstorm warnings. So active weather, and I expect that's going to continue probably for another couple of hours. And then after about 2, 3 in the morning, things should calm down, and then it's windy tomorrow, but the sun's going to be out in a decent day. And here's Peyton.
You guys have been doing a great job, continuing this coverage. I know we saw Joe out there. Joe, there wasn't any, he didn't get hit with any rain while he was out there at that time. It was nice, cool, calm, and collected. And now right here, just in studio, you're actually able to hear that rain coming.
Yeah, and good thing he got inside. He got safe. And, the storm's coming through Charleston. We'll check the power outages here, and we'll continue to update you. Again, we'll be on Facebook. We'll do some updates. Myself and Brandon Stover will be here, and we'll continue to follow it.
Make sure to download that app so you guys can continue to get those updates. For now, though, we're going to go to a break. We're going to be right back.